What's happening? It's
What up?
Uncut. It's season 2. Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D presents. I appreciate you, brothers. Man, none of this would be possible without you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very, very special guest for episode 26. You may have seen this brother on 7 Seconds, which is one of my favorite movies in 2018. You may have seen him on the hit series on Netflix, Messiah. You may have also seen him on Unsolved Murders of Tupac and Biggie on USA. I mean, there's so much more to this man's history that I don't want to take too much more from it. I'd rather him tell it. I got Mustafa Speaks, everybody. What's happening, brother?
What's up? Yo, did you just call me Simba's daddy? You said Mufasa.
Damn, dude, I just really fucking butchered your name.
It's good. It's cool, man. It's cool. It's Mustafa.
Mustafa.
Yeah.
All right, I need to redo that, bro. I just fucked off the whole aura and energy right now. Mustafa.
Nah, you straight. I ain't tripping.
Like in college or whatever, my brother, my folks is Chinadu, right? And make a long story short, he's Nigerian, and the way how he got his act into comedy is that they made fun of his name at Starbucks because they couldn't say his name correctly. And he took that idea, put it on a t-shirt, and he started traveling the world with Charlie Murphy. And then from there he worked with Kevin Hart and got on Last Comic Standing. So, you know, as much as I'm trying to cover up for butchering your name, I apologize, but there's some funny concept out of butchering names. My name's Zylo. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can do a lot with that.
Oh yeah, so let me do this again.
Are we going from the top?
I probably should, just because I fucked up so many times and I normally don't mess up. So, you know, you just got to roll with the punches and try not to get beat up, as you know, from being on the set.
Here we go.
All right. 3, 2, 1. What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut, season 2, episode 26. Man, Bobby D presents Uncle Snoop's Army. I appreciate y'all for being a part of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a very special guest. You may have seen him on Unsolved. Bro, why am I fucking up? Unsolved, the Murders of Tupac and Biggie. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Man, today we have a very special guest. Writer, actor, producer. You have seen him on one of my favorite movies of 2018, 7 Seconds. You also seen him on Netflix hit series Messiah. You've also seen him on USA's Unsolved Murders with Tupac and Biggie. Man, I have the pleasure right now, and all of you guys that are watching, Mustafa Speaks, everybody. What's happening, brother?
Peace. What's up, gang? Glad to be here, man.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Number one, as I said off air, time is the most finite thing we have in this world, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and my guests.
No, absolutely.
How's your day treating you, bro? You know, still virus-free, quarantined up?
That's good. Yeah. Quarantined up, just spending time with the wife and the family, you know, hanging out and being smart and building, creating while we're using this time to quarantine. Building myself. As you see, I got my workout uniform on, my hoodie, so I'm getting ready to build myself, my body. But then it's time to go ahead and go study.
You know, it's so interesting because a lot of people get the misconception of that, you know, you have to work on your body as only an athlete, or that you're trying to, you know, save your life and lose weight. You actually have to keep up with your body just to live and be productive along with everybody else. And in your instance, just to act like, you know, you have to fit these roles. So what is like a workout with you?
Oh man, well listen, fitness has been part of my life since as long as I can remember. I started as an athlete, student athlete. Played football since 10 years old, went to college for football at Hampton University, was a scholarship student. But I decided to get into acting after football. So being an athlete has been the majority of my life, and without working out, without staying consistent, training and pushing myself to the limit physically, I wouldn't have been able to do so mentally or emotionally, which is required to be an actor.
Right. And the determination and heart that it takes to do the workouts and memorize lines, they go parallel. You have to work out that brain just as much as you work out that body too.
Yeah, I mean, remembering lines is similar to remembering plays or when I did my marine and environmental science, remembering formulas and different types of concepts. It's all hand in hand.
Man, so it actually leads into my segment I start off the whole show with. It's my quote, and I just want you to weigh in on it. You know, if it relates to you, I want to know why. If it doesn't relate to you, I want to know why. So here we go. Cinema was my rite of passage. John Singleton. How does that relate to you?
That doesn't really resonate with me that strongly. Why? Because cinema and acting wasn't really my first love. It wasn't really something that I just joined in. My rite of passage for me was, growing up in the projects in Jersey City. And my rite of passage was my ability to be able to just stand up to whatever bullshit was outside and continue doing what I needed to do, like playing football and getting good grades, you feel me, rather than stand on the block with my cousins or the other homies. And for me to just stand up to that, regardless of how I was bullied or whatever, that was kind of my rite of passage. Cinema absolutely played a role in my life because that was an image of men and women that I'd never really seen before. So I know certain things were really possible. You dig what I'm saying? I was blessed with a father and a lot of uncles that really showed me what manhood was like. So to just get their affirmation and to get their guidance, I felt worthy enough to accomplish that rite of passage that I was seeking. You dig?
Yes, sir. So let me ask you this: coming out the Jets and being, front center of just really the reality of what the society is like in the projects. Like, I'm from LA, and you know what I mean? I've seen movies about New Jersey and how the projects are, and also like New York. Like, I've been to the Nickerson Gardens, I've been to the Jordan Down projects. Like, when you got folks, you got folks. I've been to the jungles and walked through that cul-de-sac and made it back out. And just, what is it like for you as a teenager? I'm gonna bring you back to pretty much stay out the way of family and friends activities and stay focused on your goal.
Well, for me, it was a way of life. So it didn't really seem, the only time I realized it was different and it wasn't normal was when I went to college, when I got out of that neighborhood. But growing up, and it is like, this is the way of life, this is how you live, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, be challenged every day. You're supposed to go outside and fight or expect to fight, or, you're supposed to make fun of yourself and your friends in order to really kind of get through the bullshit that you encounter every day. You're supposed to fight for everything that you get and prove yourself and prove your own worth. That was just normal. But when I got to college and I saw that not everybody had that same chip on their shoulder, or not everybody really fought both figuratively and literally, I was like, wow, okay, one, I have an extreme advantage, but there's also a disadvantage to that, because now I'm seeing everything as such a
culture shock.
A culture shock, and maybe I don't deserve certain things because I gotta keep fighting for it. So now I gotta keep proving to myself that I do deserve certain things. You dig what I'm saying? It's a different mindset.
Absolutely. Because it's a sense of humility, because when you're used to getting opportunity by fighting for it, or, like, bro, I grew up in the struggle. Like, my dad, he started a cab company and then he passed away. And then my mother pretty much made poor decisions, and we grew up in the struggle. So, like, a lot of the same things are just agreeable, but just different circumstances, as in, like, you get to see what a family is like. They eat at the table. It's like, it's dysfunctional where I come from. Like, we all sit at the on the couch and eat some. We talk about things and we keep it going. Or like, there's nothing organized about what we're doing other than what we go out and make. And so versus you have households, like I'm trying to implement now as being a father and a husband, family activities and things, that versus growing up, you don't know what that means. Only thing I know is going out and being out from the sun comes up to the sun comes down. And even then, I'm still trying to stay out. And so, I'm relating to you, and two, I'm just showing everyone the importance of just, one, getting out. Like it took myself too. I went from being in the hood to going to UC Santa Barbara and getting a complete culture shock. You know, everyone there's family makes $100,000 a year. My family makes less than $15,000 a year. And so I don't know what it's like to hang out with these people. I don't know what it's like to sit at a table and not put my elbows on there and know I'm being rude. Or this one that got me, I went to my friend's house and I didn't know I was in a country club. Didn't know what a country club was. And I put a glass on top of a wooden table and I stained it. And I was never welcomed back to their house again. And I didn't understand why. And so, you know, to this day, I make sure if anything's underneath there, if it's gonna sweat, I need to put something underneath there. It's like, oh, that's cheap wood. No, it scarred me. And, you know, all of these different things are coming from not having these leave impressions with us and scars us, so that one, we don't run across that battle anymore, because that's how we get around things. And two, it taught us the growth of, oh, I value that because I'm not used to seeing that.
Yeah.
So how much did all of that play in your life as well?
Oh man, everything you said is just right on the money. That's great. But see, it's one thing that I'm extremely grateful for as a family, that even though they were in that environment, we lived in that environment, they never had that mindset. So my family was, for lack of better words, was royalty where I was. You know, my grandmother, she came from the antebellum South back in the 30s. So, you know, her family picked cotton, moved up to Jersey with 7 kids, and they had to carve their own way. So my uncles and my father, they were out there in the streets heavy, and they did everything they could so that their family wouldn't struggle. So myself and my cousins and my siblings, you know, we didn't really have to be out there hard or crazy, because their mindset was a royalty. Look, I'm gonna provide an environment where you know that you're more. You know that you don't have to just be a bottom scrubber. Even though you're living in these circumstances, you are still just as good, if not better, than anybody else.
Right. And all this pleads into my next segment, and this segment is pretty much the origin story of you. You know, did the game choose you, or did you choose the game? And I'm referring to the entertainment industry as the game.
Facts, man. Listen, the game chose me, bro. And every single day, I ask myself, is this where I want to continue to be? Because, like I said, I was in college, and I was internationally published marine and environmental scientist specializing in shark research. So I had a grad school lined up, full scholarship to go and continue my research with sharks. One of the youngest first undergrad African-American students to come out of Hampton University. And I was playing football, appreciate it. So for me to decide to just put that to the side and continue my acting career was a big decision. But the reason I did that is because it showed me so much love at the beginning, and even still, it's showing me a lot of love. And why? Because of things like this. Because of the reach that I have, the influence that I'm able to have with people because of me being on that particular platform. And that's all my life is about. Using my life as an example, and my accolades and achievements as a platform to help uplift, inspire, and motivate whomever I can come in contact with.
Man, I'm blessed to have you on the show, because that's, you know, the bottom line of my show is just success stories, and having people understand that no matter the adversity, the obstacles you're going against, as long as you get through and see it through, there's a tunnel that has light. And you know what I mean? You can take that light and put it on anything you have going. And from there, you know, your life can change.
Absolutely.
People get a cloudy vision on it. They think, you know, the mirror is going to change, and, you know, you got to deal with yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, facts.
I want to ask you this, you know, what was your first confirmation that, you know, that the entertainment industry was for you? Because, you know, you're at this point where you're at the highest echelon of pretty much marine biology. You're studying sharks. You're one of the first to do many things. And then, boom, life hits you. And it's like, hey, I want you on this side. I want you on my team. And then you got this side of the brain saying, hey, no, I want you on this team. You know, I want to be on Discovery. I want to be on Shark Week. And I could hear the battle in your mind. And then it's like, where do I go? Where do I go? And so where was the confirmation of you like, this is what I want. This is for me. It's in a glove and it fits my hand. And now this whole world is in a whole different view.
I had to ask myself, what's my purpose? What's my ultimate goal? From there, every other decision is made much simpler. My ultimate goal is what I told you, use my life as an example and my achievements as a platform to uplift, inspire, and motivate. So what achievements moving forward is gonna give me the greatest reach? Is it gonna be the marine science realm, which I had a great reach? I did a lot of great things, but it was niche. Or am I gonna go into the entertainment realm, which was extremely lucrative, extremely fun, but also has the most reach? So you know what? Let me explore this option. And if it doesn't work out, then I can always go back to that over there. But for now, this is the only way, the best way, not the only way, but the best way I see I can accomplish my ultimate purpose.
And so where did the confirmation come in that you're on the right path?
When I continue to see success. When I continue to
have conversations. Who was the phone call like, hey, you just got to do this role?
I'll tell you. When I was on set of Men in Black 3 and I met Will Smith, when I sat right across from Will Smith, where it is, we sat just as far as I'm sitting across from the camera, and he gave me the game, bro. I'm sitting, we're about to film the first scene that you see in Men in Black 3 with him and Tommy Lee and the neuralizer and all of that. And I'm one of the agents that he's talking to. But we're behind the scenes and I tap him on the shoulder and I say, listen, man, I feel like I'm Santiago standing on a mountain right now talking to trying to become the Alchemist. One of his favorite books is The Alchemist. And I read that, and I did my research, of course. So we just had a conversation and I perked his ear up and he was just like, yo, listen, this is the game. Blah, 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 blah. And he gave it to me and I said, you know what? When in life would somebody ever really be able to have a moment like this? If this isn't confirmation that you're where you need to be, then I don't know what else would be.
Wow. No, that's a huge confirmation. It actually gave me chills right now in my back thinking about it. Like I can just imagine, we're getting ready to do this scene and then I did something that changed this whole concept of what he was thinking about to get his attention. And this is what I got out of it. And it changed your perception of what you're doing. Wow. Whew.
Yeah, that's the moment I knew, bro, you're on the right path. Just keep going.
So what roles will you say no to? Or do you somewhat, what's some of the best roles that you're leaning towards doing? And what are you okay with saying no to?
So the best roles I'm looking forward to doing is the stories that tell the story of a average man overcoming extraordinary circumstances, right? So that can look like something I just did recently where it's a SWAT, right? Where you got this seemingly big drug dealer that's just trying to take over the city, but his aspirations are just a bit bigger than the drug game. He's really just trying to be a businessman. His means just so happens to be drugs. So the roles that I want to see more of now, I'm kind of done with the drug dealer roles, even like Messiah on 7 Seconds. I really would like to see us in the light that we truly are as young Black and brown men, scientists, leaders, husbands, fathers. Those of us that are in greater society but aren't really getting the light shed on us. What I'm going to turn down now is something that doesn't help me accomplish my true purpose, which is uplifting and inspiring. If it goes against that, where I'm tearing my brothers down, where I'm tearing my people down, then I'm good on it. I'll pass.
Wow. So, I do want to take the time to give you your flowers for being a dedicated father and a dedicated husband, because number one, that is not easy to do in this industry. And number two, it's even a harder thing for people to recognize an everyday task and reward them. Until you're a parent that's fully involved and like doing some of the stuff that people do, you don't realize how challenging it is and how much of a blessing it is also at the same time to see the kids grow. So I just want to take my hat off, give my flowers to you, because
Respect.
that's huge, bruh.
Respect.
So how do you balance? I got to throw that question in because, you know, I'm seeking advice too. Because my life's getting busier and busier. And so I take the time, once I give people flowers, I got to ask the question and pick their brain. And I know other people are in the same circumstance as me of, you know, my wife and family mean everything to me, but these things that are going on can really change our families' lives and change the legacy of what we're leaving behind. And so, you know, it's a challenge. So how do you balance?
Well, you said it right there, is legacy, right? And what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you, legacy? Does that mean that you creating and establishing something that only you get the glory for? Or are you building something that your entire family is going to be able to benefit from long after you're gone? So in those two questions, you get your answer there. Well, am I going to pursue this shit by myself? Or am I going to pursue this with my family in tow so that my family can see the work that it puts in, that's required to be put in? My kids can see the work that's required to put in, so bring them whenever I can. Educate them whenever I can. Let them know, instead of just saying, oh, daddy got to work, or I'm busy, I'm doing it. Well, let them know why. So that they're not having this anxiety, the separation, like, oh, you never, because all the kids want is your time and your presence. But if you make them aware of why, they can understand that. My children are no longer with me at the moment because I went through a divorce, and a large part of it was because of my perception and my perspective on it wasn't in a place where I wanted to be. Plus, there are a lot of other circumstances that go into being in a relationship that neither of you are ready for, but still the purpose is the same, and that purpose is, what's my legacy? And if my legacy is family and generational wealth, then my kids need to see everything, they need to know everything, and not feel a void when I'm doing stuff. So I consistently talk to them like young adults, even though they're 5 and 7.
I understand. My son is 6, my daughter's 3, and sometimes I be talking to them like they're adults, and like my son gets it, my daughter doesn't because she's 3. But I be like, you know, it builds them, it gets them prepared for not only real life, but just you know, the gifts that they have. Because, you know, I didn't grow up with the father, so I didn't know everything was in me until you realize one day, like, oh, I can do this and this and this. People don't like me because of that, because I can do it and they can't. And, you know, the growth in yourself kicks in. And so I feel real blessed to hear that you tell me that, you know, you make sure the kids understand the generational wealth and what it takes to do it, versus people could spend their whole life searching for a purpose and they could do something dumb in the process.
That's it. You know, I'm figuring it out as I go, but I'm just looking and learning myself. I'm looking at history. I'm looking at those who are there. I'm looking at those who aren't there. I'm looking at the mistakes they made and trying to apply the best circumstances to my life, you know, and I had a great, very present father myself. So what are those elements I can pull from, and what are the elements that I can just toss away? And this is what I'm coming up with. So you're on the right path, man. You're doing something grassroots that your kids are going to be able to appreciate, you know what I mean? And make them a part of the process so that they can understand it and sustain it themselves.
And see, a lot of the people forget that, you know, if you tell people that there's a hole in the ground that you fell in, and you tell them about it so that they can jump over the hole, that, you know, they're getting a step up from where they were at. And a lot of people are just so hard-headed and you know, they just don't listen, that they fall into the hole. And then, you know, you try to help them, but a lot of the time stuff goes over their head. So you got to leave things there for them to be able to grab. And, you know, I appreciate you, man, because, bro, you spoke volumes during that. And it leads into my next segment. My next segment is about the youngsters that don't know what to do in situations when those red and blue lights hit. That high beam hits your neck and back and goes up and searches for everybody else in the vehicle. And then you hear that nice sound of blurp, blurp. And, you know, it leads to this question I ask all my guests: when was the last time you were pulled over? And the whole concept is awareness. You know, if I could teach a kid not to fall in that same hole, and he could hear some of their favorite actors, rappers, people behind the scenes tell the story of how they got it and, you know, prevented them falling in the hole and kept the story going, then that's what I'm trying to get.
Honestly, man, this is a really tough subject. Last time I got pulled over was this summer. My wife and I were in Alabama driving, and it was a nerve-wracking situation. Very nerve-wracking situation. Not this summer, the fall. And the reason why is because you never know, bro. Like, you can think you're doing everything right, and you see this, you see what's going on. We can do everything right, but we're still wrong. Then the best advice I can get is do your best to avoid whatever situation is gonna put you in that type of situation. You know, if you're driving, do your best to abide by all the driving laws, you know, but whenever you are in a situation where you're pulled over, I can't even say just comply, bro. Like, you see the dilemma I'm even having voicing this, right? Because you can do everything right, but you never know. Only thing I can say is be aware of your surroundings, be aware of where you are, be aware of who you are, and what you do in those situations. You can't be aggressive because you're a young black or brown man. You can't be this, you can't be that. You just gotta do your best to know how you're being perceived and how they're reacting.
Yes, sir.
And avoid.
Yeah, the least amount of time you got to deal with them, the better. If you can just get your ticket and go. And, you know, like, at the end of the day, everything you're saying is so right, because I'm on both sides of it myself. My family's cultured, you know what I'm saying? And we've been through all of it myself, and I'm a part of a list, and blase. None of that shit matters in real life, but it does matter when your name gets pulled over and you run the lip and your name hits that list. And so, you know, you get extra backup, you get extra attention, you get all types of things that you feel like you don't deserve because you haven't done anything in the past 15 years, or like in my situation. And so it's like that stress of the, you know, dealing with them, and they're scared from the beginning. Like, you know, they got a chip on their shoulder from what they've encountered, and they take it with them to work, and they take it with them when they pull people over, and so on and so forth. And, you know, that's why it's so important that I have these testimonies from you guys, that, you know, one, that the bottom line is to stay calm, don't be aggressive, and get through the process as quickly as possible.
That does not help, man. It does not help when you try to combat and do this and that, because ultimately, yes, they have to abide by certain rules and certain restrictions, right? When you really get into the meat of what peace officers and such are. But none of that stuff matters when they have a gun in your face and you don't.
Facts.
Get home safe is the goal.
Period. And, you know, cops are allowed to lie to you versus we're not allowed to lie to them. They have a right to lie to us. They could say they pulled us over for whatever and lie for it, but if we give them a reason to believe it, they will continue with that and prosecute you for it. And, you know, it's important, just be quiet and, you know, do what you can to get through the process.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of this serious topic, and we're gonna have some fun now. I got a segment called Trading Places, and you know, the movie Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy. Like, take two people and have them wake up in different people's lives. And the question number one is, will it work? Question number two is, what would life be like if these people woke up in these circumstances? So for you today, I have John Singleton trading places with Rick Rubin. Question number one, will it work?
Trading play, will it work? You know what? It would. It would, because of who John Singleton is. The type of man John Singleton is. He's such a visionary, so aware, so acute, and so esteemed that whatever area he decides to take himself in, he will make whatever situation work, living that in Rick Rubin's shoes, circumstances. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, do you feel Rick Rubin can deliver in John Singleton's shoes when we're talking about just the history of wonderful movies that he's left in his legacy? From Boys in the Hood to, now we got Rick Rubin from going behind the scenes as being a music producer to film, and then, vice versa.
Yeah. Oh man, that's hard. That's hard to say. I'm a little biased because I'm just such a fan of definitely Rick Rubin, but a fan of Singleton, and he's started so young and shifted a culture. He created his own genre.
He resetted the game.
Established the game.
Right. Facts.
You get me? So I'm sure Rick will carve his path and make it work, but as well as Singleton, I can't really say. Bias, bro.
It's all good, bro. That's the whole point of this. It's kind of uncut. Yeah. You feel me? It's gonna be uncut. It may cut you the wrong way, it may cut you the right way, but you know what? It was real.
Right, facts.
So you know what? Let's go ahead and trade up out of this. I got another segment for you. It's called Impulse Q&A, and essentially I got like cards. They all have questions on there. I pick randomly the questions, and they're more from like a fan perspective. So you know they get an insight from you. And two, I'm interested to see some of these questions, what they are, or I should know if they're bad. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be able to throw the card out because they are like randomly selected, and you got an option to pass. I'll throw the card away on air.
All right, copy that.
Question number 1. What is the weirdest thing you find attractive in a person?
The weirdest thing I find attractive in a person is how eclectic they are. Yeah. How eclectic, like how different can you be is like what I'm really most intrigued about. Because to me, that just tells me how confident in yourself you are.
Mm-hmm. Now that's powerful.
Yeah.
Very powerful. I say confident and comfort creates greatness. So if you're comfortable being that outside the box and you're confident, you gotta be great.
That's a word. That's a word.
Question number 2. What is something you hate but you wish you loved? Never seen that question.
Something I hate, wish I loved. Damn, I don't know. Something I hate that I wish I loved. Sitting down. Bro, like just sitting down and doing nothing. Like I hate sitting down and doing nothing, but I wish I loved it because it's so necessary. I know y'all probably looking for something a little more juicy, but shit, that's just what it is for me.
So no, that means that your work hours is like 16 to 18 hours a day. And
I'm constantly doing stuff, bro. Like my wife, she say something about it. My therapist say something about it. Like, stop, you don't have to do so much. Just sit, be, just chill. I can't do that. No. And that goes into where I come from.
Exactly. It's not PTSD to a degree, but it's just like it's better to keep your mind running than not running at all and sit back and think about things.
Yeah. But there is time and place to do that. So I constantly do my best at practicing like meditation and just things that calm my mind, calm my spirit, because I'm always going.
See, back in the day, they didn't call that ADHD. They just said sit your ass down.
Right. You slapped upside your head. Sit your ass down.
Okay. All right. And then be back up 5 seconds later.
That's it. Right.
Question number 3. Would you rather go 30 days without your phone or your entire life without dessert?
30 days without my phone. Oh man, I need dessert, bro. I need apple crumb a la mode. You ever been to Applebee's and had the apple crumb a la mode joint with the ice cream on top? It's apple crumb with ice.
It's on
If I
here.
could have that every day, I would. I would.
So how many more hours in the gym would you have to do if you ate that every day?
Man, I wouldn't even. I'd just say forget about going to the gym. It wouldn't even work.
Well, it's safe to say if we see you sitting down and relaxing in the future, you're gonna be eating some Applebee's.
You know what I'm gonna be eating.
He said he took a load off for a while and put a load on.
Right. If I ever get a role where I need to gain weight, you know what I'm gonna be doing.
He said, "You see my endorsement, right? It's right over here now."
Right.
Oh man. So what are you most excited for coming up?
What I'm most excited for is, man, looking to see how the world is going to change after this quarantine lifts. Real talk. If I'm just keeping it real, man, I'm just excited to see how people move and how people adjust. Since everything is shut down, it's not like I can be excited for a project. It's not like I can be excited for any other kind of business moves aside from things that I'm creating. I'm just excited to see how everyone is going to respond. One thing that I'm building right now that I actually just launched today is something called Quarantine Cave. And what Quarantine Cave is, since we're quarantined right now, what I'm going to do for myself is go deep into a cave and do as much as I can to completely build myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. Put together a regimented program, physically, nutritionally, regimented program of reading assignments, writing assignments, and studying assignments, so that when I do come out of this cave, or when we lift this quarantine, I will be out so much stronger, so much better, that I will never be denied.
Whew. Wow.
So I opened that up to the public and was like, listen, anybody else that's willing to join me and go in this cave, hey, you're more than welcome. But this is what I'm going to be doing, using this time wisely.
Invest in yourself, and not materialistically things, but spiritually, mentally, and physically. Wow.
Right.
It's funny because we've been seeing all these memes about, oh, what are you going to be doing when the quarantine's over? Like, it's going to be a memory of like, what you did when you graduated, or what you did on like prom night, or you know what I mean? It's going to be on that level of memory in our lives. But at the same time, it's like, you're going to be so ready to go right back into work. You're not going to know what to do. You probably won't even sit down then.
Right. And you're going to miss the appreciation that should be happening right now.
Yes. A lot of people think like this is supposed to be a problem, or, like, I guarantee you at everybody's house that are really busy and on the road, there's stuff that they neglected. And, this is that time to take the time to appreciate it, fix it, and then, find out a way to incorporate it back into your life.
Right. That's real.
So I asked the question, what are you most excited for? Because it's very interesting for you, because, you're an actor. A lot of the sets got closed down all across the world. And then at the same time, you're on Netflix. So it's like you have placement on Netflix. So, your market is still there. It's actually one of the boomingest markets there is right now. It's like streaming more than music. And it
Right.
And so
right.
I take that perspective and, I'm like, man, so I was going to ask you, like, how do you balance? And you hit me with it. He was like, no, I dropped something today. I'm not going another day past this quarantine without having something to grow on and really have to hold.
Yeah, that's real. What can I control? Because essentially, typically every day, somebody else is controlling everything else. So I'm not going to be just sitting on my ass waiting. That's why I have businesses. I have companies that I build and create to try to help do the same. And this is one of them.
So would you agree that, a common denominator of everyone that makes it out the hood, or makes it out the struggle, I should say, I can't even call it the hood. Everyone that makes it out the struggle, that their thing is that they have no excuse to do it other than to do it. They find a reason to do it other than weigh that excuse in.
Ask me that again.
Okay, so would you agree or disagree that, having an excuse be the reason why people do things or don't do things coming out this struggle?
Yeah. Making an excuse is the difference between succeeding and not succeeding, or living and dying in the hood, if you want to put it there.
So it's safe to say, because you kept that on your shoulder, that, you know, that's the big reason why you're able to succeed, because you kept that chip on your shoulder of, you know, I need to succeed. I need to get out of this. And, you know, I'm bringing up all this for the fact that there's so many people that live in this life and think that, you know, that this is it. I know people from South Central that haven't been around the corner, don't even know Westwood exists. You got people in East Oakland that don't know Berkeley exists. You know, and I don't know, like, I haven't been to the East Coast too much, but I'm pretty sure there's people in Brooklyn that don't know Rochester exists. There's people in Trenton that don't know Miami exists other than what they talk about on TV. Yeah. And so it's just, you know, I wanted to see if you agreed or disagreed, that's all.
Yeah.
Rambling.
No, yeah. From what I understand you saying, yes, exposing yourself to other places and making an excuse that you can't do it is a detriment.
And make a reason to do it versus the excuses.
Right.
Man, so at the end of this show, you know, I do this with everybody, and it's if you haven't noticed, my show's pretty unique. It's different, and as we are in this clouded or crowded space of podcasts and TV or shows, really, you know, that you have to be unique. You have to find ways to step out the box and be different. So I end my show like this. You got any questions for me?
What makes you different?
Oh, everything. What makes this show different, or me?
Both.
This show's different primarily because, one, it's all from genuineness, care. Like, everything about this show is about success and showing people that, one, they can do it, and two, here's the reason why you can do it. And I took that from my life. Like I said, my father passed away young, and so I grew up in the struggle, and I have all these things in me, but nothing on me to represent it. And you know what it's like trying to go around everywhere saying that you're like related to king or royalty, and what you got on you, they can't judge you on that. And so you learn to adapt to your surroundings and be more comfortable who gives you love. And so I became quick to the streets and quick to all this while still getting straight A's in school. And, you know, eventually I made a mistake and robbed somebody and got arrested for it after I got put in a newspaper. And, you know, a lot of that, my life allowed me to grab it and say, you know, I got to put this on a platform and be able to talk about it, but also be able to talk about it with guests and give them the platform to weigh in on it the same way. And then on top of that, find viable things. I acted in school. I was supposed to be on Little Rascals, and our car broke down on the final audition. I met Steven Spielberg, a national audition. Came all the way down from 10,000 people to 4, and the car breaks down, and I couldn't continue. You know what I mean? I missed the audition, and I missed being Spanky. And so we continue being in the struggle and continue. There's all types of opportunities. And then the first chance that it was on me, I decided to do something stupid, rob somebody and go to jail. And pretty much I've been trying to get back my life from that standpoint of the streets don't matter as much as life does. And so I'm like, all right, I got to take that perception, take that and add it to this. And then I've been working with, I've been blessed to know a whole bunch of people and have relationships with a whole bunch of people, so that, you know, it allowed me to understand that the topics and discussions we're having needs to be on this platform as well. And so I put it all together and boom. And then me, I don't know too many white people that have my skin color that can go in different neighborhoods and get out and be respected by everybody and give the respect first and show love first and have the ability to tell the story of it. And I've had that happen so many times in my life, from in East Oakland going to the Ville and not knowing that, you know, this is where a whole bunch of people get killed at and you don't make it out. And I'm willy-nilly talking to everybody, being respectful, and it got me through. And, you know, I could go on and on about stories, but I realized, you know, I'm unique to this. And then I'm heavily involved in music. And so that's what makes me unique.
No, don't feel like you rambling. This is I asked you that question for a reason. You know, there was an intention behind that. And one, your audience, I don't know how often you talk to them and you share what you just shared, but your audience needs to hear that, even if you have new listeners or viewers right now. But it's always good to remind yourself of why you the man you are and why you special and why this is going to be the vibration that everybody starts to connect to.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, bruh. And I can go. I was homeless in high school, and pretty much what happened was my mother got arrested right before high school started. My sister took care of us from being ward of the state, and then from there, my mother got out of prison and didn't want us to move in with her, and instead she wanted to be spiteful and turn my sister in for some welfare fraud because her baby dad had a job, and she was still on the system, so she'd get aid for us. And so now my sister goes to prison. My mom doesn't want us, and I have to turn to my friends and ask to move in with them. And that influence of they always showed me love in the streets. So I got back in the street life and then caught a case. I literally made front page of the Sunday newspaper. You can see it up there. But and I got arrested 3 weeks later for robbery. I was in a bed of a truck and jumped out and robbed a kid, and it was dumb. And it changed my life. I thought I was invincible at night, and it made me show that I wasn't invincible. And it also showed everybody else that I was building relationships with that, hey, you got to pay attention to him in a wrong way. And so you had to spend all this time to fix it. And then, I got situations and dropped out of college, and I ended up meeting my wife, and we went to high school together, and she actually helped me slow down that whole aspect of being in the streets and understanding what my gifts are. And we have 2 beautiful children that run around and are very intelligent, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they become my motivation daily, bro. These kids of mine, they're miniature versions of us, and sometimes I'll be like, man, whose kids are these? Because how turned up they get, and some of the stuff I used to do, and I'd be forgetting, because I've calmed down so much, and my kids turn up, no, calm down.
Yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah, it's in them. Well, that's powerful, man. That's a story. That's a story that needs to be shared, whether it be on paper, on screen, or in the media.
Yes, sir. No, and I appreciate you asking me, because to be very honest, yeah, I dig too much, but I'm still up and coming. You know what I'm saying? My fate is still determined on how everything goes around these edges and curves. And so I have people that have already became successful and the values that they have, and I admire it. So I'm like, I have to have these people on the show. I have to have you on the show. It was mandatory. And you're an upstanding guy, and you came on.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's my pleasure.
So, man, any other questions? Shit got good.
No, that's it. That's it. I'm cool.
Man, how do you feel about the show?
I enjoyed it. It was cool. It felt like I was just talking with the homie, vibing about life, about different situations. And I think this is going to be lucrative to whoever receives it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Try to drop gems, and sometimes them gems become diamonds. Other times they become a piece of steel to hit someone in the head so that they wake up.
Facts. And all you got to do is be you, man. You ain't got to try, because it's going to be there. Thank you, man. Everybody listening, you hear that? Just be yourself. If you get a role, they believe that role can be you too. But you got to put yourself in the situation and sell yourself first to get them bigger roles. Go ahead and teach that acting class, bro.
Man, don't be turning your back to the camera now. You get asked to leave right away.
Right.
Man, I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Bobby D Presents Uncle Snoop's Army. It's Contrast Uncut, Season 2, Episode 26. Wow. The biggest word I could say out of this whole interview is wow. The amount of gems dropped was like diamonds raining from the sky. Bruh, I can't. Man, I got chills thinking about this interview. Mustafa Speaks, everybody. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, respect. Likewise, gang. Likewise.
Man.
Family, what's up? Mustafa Speaks here, and I'm rocking with my man, Contrast Uncut. Much love.
Hey.